Good morning and welcome back to BIFA Link TV, your daily dose of industry information. As you can see, we're in Warwick for day 2 of BIFA's National Conference. We have another jam-packed agenda today, so come with us as we speak to our speakers, the rest of our guests and our sponsors. So Jamie, what session are you most looking forward to today?
I'm really looking forward to hearing from Stella Creasy MP, our keynote speaker. I just really want to hear what she's talking about the EU and the relationship with the European Union. I think her stuff is fascinating.
I'm so interested in the cybersecurity sessions. I learned a lot about protecting my data as well as my company data, and also the session about usage of the AI. I didn't know that AI has a bit of hallucination. This is how they describe it. So and not all AI generated information are trusted. So this is something was really good to hear from the speakers.
Well, it's the one we've just had actually, because I think the adoption of new technology is one of the biggest challenges. Freight forwarders are used to dealing with a whole range of volatility, challenges, trading changes, laws, all sorts of things. Now, in addition to that, is how do we adopt AI? How do we control it? How do we use it? How do we protect this increasing amount of digital data that's available, given the increasing risk around cyber attacks and ransomware?
Generally, I've been someone who's been in the industry for 40 years on the freight side. I've learned so much, and it's surprised me that really how much I have learned and been really interesting speakers.
So you formed part of our Future of IT discussion this morning. So what parts are you talking about?
So I was largely talking about what trends we're seeing in the industry at the moment, challenges that are prevalent and technology solutions that maybe already exist that aren't being as well utilized as they could be, and some low-hanging fruit that maybe businesses could go after to make a meaningful difference in the next few years.
So I was talking about risks and opportunities. Today I think is a lot about horizon scanning, seeing what's coming down the track. So I try to focus on the stuff that's going to be important going forward for freight forwarders, and just in that whole IT sphere in general, key things to look out for.
Just on that, if there's one kind of key message that you want attendees to take away from today, what would that be?
That would be to make sure you've got a problem that you want to solve before you go investing in technology. Speak to your technology providers about what they offer today, about that problem, about your objectives, and see what solutions they suggest, rather than necessarily jumping after buzzwords like the AI one that's popping around these days.
Set up your MFA and set up your MFA.
And of course, you were one of our speakers at today's event. So for anybody who couldn't attend the conference today, what was your session about?
Well, it was particularly looking at what's coming out of Washington in the US. What is Trump's trade agenda all about? What are the motivations for it? How is it unfolding? Are we seeing any kind of changes to it as it develops? And looking ahead to where I think trade and particularly the future of trade and economic security might go.
And for our attendees who just heard your session, what's kind of the one key takeaway that you want them to kind of take back to the office with them?
I think that now is the time, with trade back on the agenda, to make the case to government about we need to have a kind of permanent supportive approach to how we develop logistics as an industry, so that we can kind of future-proof the sort of movement of goods and services going forward, because we can't just keep having this sort of peak and trough and we only care about logistics when things go wrong.
Your session was titled To Insure or Not to Insure. So for any of our members who couldn't be in attendance today, can you just walk through what you covered?
Yeah, sure. So the theme really was to start it off by highlighting the primary sort of areas of risk that we see through our claims experience. So cargo theft, freight crime, and also cargo damage. And they're the kind of themes and losses and areas of risk where claims will produce, where the risk exposure is for the industry, and then really starting to discuss that very question, to insure or not to insure. And again, Steve was able to sort of highlight there that we estimate that a large percentage of cargo does ship around the world uninsured, unfortunately. So in a nutshell, that's where we were.
If there's one kind of key takeaway that you want our members to kind of take back with them, what would that be?
Yeah, so one of the real sort of main discussion points really was about sort of the importance of incorporating standard trading conditions, so limiting your liability effectively, but then the disparity between legal liability insurance and cargo insurance, and really ensuring that the customer understands the difference between legal liability and the cargo insurance, really encouraging more and more people to take cargo insurance up. It alleviates a lot of sort of commercial tensions and potential damage to reputations. That's again was probably the main takeaway, I think.
And of course, Freight Cover is one of our exhibitors, and you have been for the past 2 days. So what does exhibiting mean to your company?
It gives us a big opportunity to network with the BIFA members, and it's been really important to be able to sell the insurance product that we have.
And you formed part of our value of work-based learning, talking about the YFN. So what was your part of that session talking about?
For myself, Carl was asking me on the panel about what's my position as an employer, to how to get people, what was my value of sending people to the YFN. And I think it was a fabulous opportunity. It gives them confidence, it gets them out networking with people, and ultimately it's good for the business, good for the staff, and who really can't spare a few hours a week a few times a year. It's dead easy, really.
So my part of the session was talking about how I become of the chair and on the committee, and also try to encourage employers to let young people out to the events.
So today I was invited to discuss around apprenticeships, and then the changes this year with the changes from the apprenticeship levy to the skill and growth levy that's coming in 2025.
And if there's one kind of key message that you want those employers to take back with them, what would that be?
I think the one message would be, please, if you can spare a couple of hours to let your young people out to these events, please do, because the amount of stuff I've learned, and I know other people have learned, is invaluable.
There's a big change coming where the skills and growth levy will enable you to use 50% of your levy towards training, modular training, and upskilling the staff. Think about your skill shortages with HGV and LGV, and how you can utilise that funding towards onboarding.
And just to allow them to go out, it doesn't cost anything. It's great in a time where money's tight and it's getting tighter. It's something that you can do for the staff, and generally, it's always quite good fun to get out there and network with people.
And of course, your session was looking at kind of destination planning and looking to the future. So for any of our members who couldn't be in attendance today, can you kind of just give an insight into what you were talking about?
Yeah, I mean, over the last 2 days here, we've heard of a lot of kind of outside factors that will help run the businesses, and people need to be aware of a lot of these issues. And we kind of want them to bring it all together. How do you put it in a plan to be able to allow yourself to be agile and react to these issues along the way? Because it's a sector where things change all the time.
And if there's one kind of key takeaway that you want attendees to take back with them, what would that be?
I think plan. Kind of make sure you have a plan, because the best companies will thrive and will be agile, and as I say, will react best to these issues.
And what's kind of the key message that you'd give to any of the BIFA members out there?
Listen, I hope they found the conversation today worthwhile, and I hope it can prove that if you talk to politicians, you tell them what's going on, invite them in, show them firsthand what's been happening, then actually they can feed that into the discussions in Parliament, because we need to get to grips with these challenges, but we can't do that on empty. Fill our inboxes, tell us what's happening, get on the phone to us, show us what we could do to make it better, and we'll get somewhere.
A big thank you to all of our sponsors and exhibitors for making this event possible. I know we couldn't have done it without you. And of course, a massive thank you to all of our expert speakers who have joined us here across the 2 days. Thank you to everybody who joined us here at the Slate and everybody who's watching this video. We hope you enjoyed this look at BIFA's National Conference. That's all for today's special edition of BIFA Link TV, your daily dose of industry information.